Hey guys, welcome to the Talk of Fame podcast. I'm your host, Kai Martini, and today we have a very rare two guest episode. Please welcome Mia Lastrella and Joelle Westwood, co-founders of Western Star Entertainment Group. Mia is an American screenwriter and director based in New York City. She's currently attending Pace University, pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in Film Studies. She is best known for directorial and writing work for Just One Thing campaign featuring Alysia Reiner and her independent projects Wake Up and Strangers. In her spare time, Mia volunteers as an accredited videographer for a nonprofit organization and works as a film studies teaching assistant at Pace University. Joey is an actress, producer, published playwright, and screenwriter, also based in New York City. Joey is currently developing two new materials, stay tuned for those, and is an advocate for climate change, animal rights, and educating younger generations on the impact of technology and mental health. I know that is kind of a very long intro, but I really thank you guys for joining us today for today's interview. I really appreciate it and love what you guys are doing.
For having us. Also, just so
Yeah.
you know, my name's Joelle.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was. Here's this question to start off for both of you, but how did you guys, connect? I know you guys are both from New York City, but how did you guys kind of, meet while in the city, or did you guys meet before moving there?
Bumble BFF. I don't know if you heard of it. We just met through friends and kind of connected over our passion and love for film. And kind of the rest is history. I don't know. It was a very kind of normal meeting in New York.
I know with New York City, it's such a big city that you're like, I need to meet everyone. It's so hard to know everyone since it's such a big city.
Yeah, definitely. We got very lucky. We met through mutual friends through Bumble BFF, Joel mentioned. It was an app that was quite helpful during COVID when it was hard to meet people in person. Um, and yeah, the rest is history. We've grown very close, having been in the same industry, and yeah, it's all worked out since then.
Love it. Like, it's crazy. See, I'm familiar with Bumble, so it's very, like such an app where it became so popular during COVID that like I see like so many people meeting in person. And I'm just like, what is going on with technologies these days,
I
especially
know.
COVID?
Seems
Yeah.
so unlikely, but
It's
here we are.
crazy. But like, how do you guys usually develop stories as a screenwriter? I know you guys are probably very different in terms of writing, but how do you guys kind of develop stories when you guys are writing for a TV show or whatever it is?
Well, we do a lot of feature and narrative based work, shorts as well, but finding a good writing partner can be really challenging. And writers often see themselves as lone wolves in this industry. But with Joelle, I got really lucky. And, back in 2022, she had this amazing idea for a fantastical feature drama that I thought was brilliant. And she asked me to help her write it. And I was really honored. And together we spent, over a year fleshing out that first story, which can be a really difficult process. But obviously, I'm glad I had a partner through that, because at times when you're wrought for ideas or feeling uninspired, it's challenging to keep the momentum. And some of my past writing mentors have said anyone can start a script, but finishing one is the mark of a good screenwriter. So yeah.
I know with being a screenwriter, I know with writing, I'm not the best writer. I'm sure you guys are much better than me. I'm so bad at writing. But I know when during a writing project, I know I can't finish any because I'm just like, this too hard. But how do you guys usually just, start from scratch into the finishing project? I know you guys worked on a writing project, like this writing thing in 2022, but how do you guys kind of go from scratch to finish through that project?
I don't know. I think like scripts are never really finished. Mia and I have done projects where we wrote it, we shot it, it's been edited, and we look back and we're like, I wish we included this line, or I wish we did this. And so I think when you're working with a story, it's like you always are thinking about it and it's never really finished. But when we know we're overwriting and we're getting too much into the details of things, I think sometimes that's a good indicator of it's time to stop. Or if you ask people their opinions and if you have too many other opinions in your script and it's kind of muddling the main story, that happens sometimes. So I think just knowing when to stop is probably the best way to decide it's, you know, finished and ready to shoot.
Yeah, definitely. Like I know, like of course when I like with a lot of TV shows and films, people are oftentimes adding to the script and writing and editing during filming, which is like not very rare. Like it's very rare to see that happen. It's not like you said, all scripts are usually not exactly finished. It's always, sometimes people change it during filming, or sometimes after they're done, like in post-production, they have to redo scripts again and start doing things. So it's really just, it never ends, it seems like, and this never ends.
It really doesn't. I like what you said about, feeling like things change on the day. That's something that I was thinking about after Joelle said, just knowing when to stop, because things really do. I mean, you're really on the day, you're making changes, and that's kind of the beauty of this art form. And I think it really also comes down to just like having confidence in your work, and having faith in the creative ideas that you've brought and your storytelling abilities. And that's when you know to stop. And when the overwriting has happened, is when you just really have confidence in your own opinion and your own ideas. And I think that's something Joelle and I have really honed and continue to work towards in
Mhm.
our writing.
Yeah, and it's really, writer's institution, I'll probably call it. I know a lot of people usually call it writer's institution because, of course, being a writer, you just know when directly to stop, or whenever you're going exaggerating, or, you wrote a little, you think you wrote a lot. So it's really just knowing when to, stop or when to keep going is the biggest, thing that I currently struggle with writing, is that like you just don't know when to start or actually when to stop is the two biggest struggles I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you guys, realize when the script is finished? Like of course, you kind of touched on this a little earlier, but I know when filming, like you guys change a lot of things during filming, adding and losing a bunch of things. But when you guys are maybe post-production or even like pre-production, do you guys ever, change a lot during before filming, or is it kind of like, very up in the air, you guys don't really change anything?
I think Joelle said it well. A script is just never finished, truthfully. And oftentimes, writers, if we're lucky, we have the chance to make changes on the day. But if you're talking more in the sense of when a script is in a good place to sell or to shoot, I think it comes down to collecting that feedback from people to an extent, seeing that what's possible, and getting feedback on your story arcs and your dialogue and generally on your ideas, and then submitting it to labs and festivals to see kind of if the world agrees with you and if they think your ideas are ready. But again, I think it's really just a game of chance. I mean, you never know what people are going to like and what they don't. So it just comes down to believing in what you can do and doing it for yourself. And that's something that we pride ourselves in, is just making things, despite outer opinion. I think we've gotten great feedback on some of our previous stories, but it just comes down to, if you want something to work, if you want it to be made, you just have to get the words off the page and onto the camera.
Exactly. Like I know with writing and like directing, like, of course, like when submitting to every festival, like not every festival might not like what you do. And yeah, of course, when submitting festivals before you guys start filming is such a great way to really kind of get other festivals feedback if maybe they will publish this story when we film or whatever they do. I love that you brought that up because that's something I know not a lot of like filmmakers, writers, or directors oftentimes do when, pre-production, post-production, or even filming is such, getting other filmmakers or even, different people and companies that are willing to show your work is something that, like, okay, well, these, big companies showcase their work if this place doesn't, is really such a main factor.
Yeah, definitely. And Western Star Entertainment Group is something that came from that. I mean, the origins of our story just comes from feeling like we had this house of creative projects, this slate of ideas that we wanted made. And I received a lot of mentorship from an experienced female producer that I used to work for, Marissa Vitale, who really encouraged me to pursue our ideas and not wait around for someone else to care. And Joelle, being as driven as she was, the two of us together feeling like, we had something and we were able to bring Western Star to life, and therefore our own ideas. And we just have spent the past year, and will continue to spend our time fighting for our ideas and telling people about them and being as loud and proud as we can as young female creators in this industry. Yeah, and it comes down to doing it yourself at the end of the day.
Agreed.
Agreed. I totally agree with that.
Well
You said that
said.
perfectly. But as you said before, you guys are co-founders of Western Star Entertainment Group. What is kind of the story behind the company? Because of course, with being young and starting a company, it's crazy to micromanage so many clients and making your way kind of towards different companies getting your name out there. But what is kind of like the story behind starting a company?
I mean, yeah, I think Mia said it well. We just had so many creative projects that we wanted done. And Mia's also director, and I'm an actress, as you mentioned. And so we just weren't getting work in those career paths. And so we were just making our own stories where we could, and knew that we wanted to be a part of the process for these larger features and projects that we couldn't afford to invest in ourselves. And so the company kind of created itself in that way. And yeah, now we're here.
It came to us. It was a calling that we didn't really ask for, a blessing and a curse. I think at the end of the day, we are creatives. Joelle mentioned acting and directing for me, and those are things we're truly passionate about. And I think that's what makes us such great producers. We know what it's like to be a creative with nowhere to put your ideas, and we take creatives that have all of this broad idea and narrow that down into an organizational structure that can be made into a film. And that's really what producers do at its heart. And I think we found a niche there, especially for young emerging talent and young filmmakers, and just people that feel like they've been searching for the right resources, and maybe have the funding but need just more help with the structure, and want support from something that's not a large corporation that's just going to throw money at them and tell them hope for the best or we're taking it all back. And so we might not have the funds to offer, but we certainly have the passion, and the confidence to get those types of projects made.
Yeah, and that is seriously the most important thing, I think, for everyone, whether it's their company or a producer or something, because not a lot of, people get these type of projects. I know specifically women, I know people really just, define different genders or roles, have specific genders, do certain roles, whether it's like a lawyer, an athlete, or whatever it is. There's always specific roles for different people. But of course, being a female in the industry, it can be difficult by all means. I see basically most of the stuff, and it really can be so difficult. But you guys have an all-female production company, right?
Yeah.
As of now, yeah.
Awesome. Like, why did you guys, of course, with being divided, which is amazing, but why did you guys kind of choose an all-female production company? Of course, with being female, populating a company, like it's all driven by women, you kind of get so many ideas, but why did you guys kind of choose to have an all-female, led production company?
Well, I want to clarify that we have employees that are non-female identifying, so we're not completely, only women, although that would be awesome. But we just don't experience a lot of women behind the camera. I think this year was really special. I mean, 2023 into 2024 with Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie and Taylor Swift and Beyonce and their takeover of AMC. There were a lot of women-led projects this year that really showcased that can be very profitable, and you can direct projects towards female audiences and it can work for studios. And so that was a really big feat, I think culturally as well. And so we kind of are trying to do a similar thing on a very small scale as an indie production company, where there just aren't a lot of female filmmakers who are getting opportunities, especially young ones, tend to be taken advantage of by older executives. And that's, that's something that we want to try to stop too. And so by having women in those positions as executives and as leaders, can hopefully alleviate that problem as well. So yeah, that's kind of why. I mean, Mia, do you have anything to add?
I think that that's very well said. I think for us, it's really, I mean, we know what that's like. We know what it's like to be a young, inexperienced female filmmaker or female creative that's dealing with the bigger, higher powers that, have been in this industry for a long time, and breaking through that barrier can be extremely challenging, and they do not make it easier on you. And I think we've really learned to take our gender and our fresh faces in stride and make it work for us. And so I think female identifying and non-binary individuals are not getting the same opportunities. I mean, that's just a fact. They're not getting the same opportunities that males in this industry have in the past, and we want to be active participants in changing that. And I think Joelle said it well. It's just, we don't see those faces behind the camera, and it's nice to know that we have that support with this movement that's coming about in the industry of women, and we want to be a part of that.
And that is honestly such a great way to really be part of that, because of course we're having female-led kind of production companies. I know you have some male workers as well, but to have, a bunch of women trying to make that change is really to really see that happening is such to think like, okay, like is this going to change what's going on right now? Is of course what the amazing movies that came out over the last year, and of course the rest of the year of 2024. There's such amazing couple movies coming out, especially like Barbie and Beyonce, Taylor Swift, movies like Eras Tour, Renaissance, Barbie. Like there's some amazing movies that came out. And it really, having, production companies and being such a young person can be very difficult to kind of navigate, because of course some people might have experience, some people may be some cocky saying I have more experience than you, like you can't be in this industry. But to have you kind of a production company at such a young age and being a woman, it's really just, amazing to kind of see is really making a way for other young women to really start production company as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Hope so. But for Mia, like how did you kind of write and direct the Just One Thing campaign with Alysia Reiner?
I mean, this was just before, Western Star came about. It was one of the reasons that I felt like this is something we could really accomplish. But yeah, I was a part-time volunteer for an amazing nonprofit called Shop Repurpose. They're based in New York City, and they're another female-founded organization founded by Jessie Freschel. She's a big-time designer for wealthy clients, and knowing my experience and my ambitions and having the resources that they did, they allowed me to write this script. And that's centered around this campaign to fundraise and bring awareness to their company and to bring donations into their store. They're a donation-based resale store, and they connected me with Simone Films and PS 360, some other companies, and their amazing teams offered to help out. And yeah, there was a lot of amazing volunteers involved in the process. I was lucky enough to be able to direct that. I'm really thankful that they trusted my vision. But yeah, that I mean, pretty much immediately after that was Western Star. So it kind of propelled me into that industry even further, made me believe even more so that this is something that I could do.
And like once I saw Alyssa's name, I'm like, oh my God, no way. Because
Yeah,
Alyssa is such an amazing actor, and to work with her, it's just a dream. I know for a lot of people.
yeah, absolutely. Alysia Reiner is very talented, and honestly, having her a part of it was really sheer luck.
Hmm.
Jessie has a great connection with her, and she has a great connection with Shop Repurpose, and I was very fortunate to have had that opportunity to direct her, and she was so amenable to the process and to the fact that, you know, this was an early project for me. So yeah, I was really lucky, and we have continued to work with really great talent, people like JT Austin and Justin Hudon on projects that Western Star has made. And so it just, again, renewed my confidence that Western Star could be something really great, and we get to work with such amazing talent.
Yeah, 100%. And before we wrap up, like, do you guys have any upcoming projects this year or anything that you guys are kind of working on currently?
Mia, you
A
wanna
lot of
take it?
things, yeah. Um, yeah, we have some great stuff coming up. I mean, Joelle is working on 2 musical projects right now, that I'm so happy to be supporting, and those are going very well. We have a short film narrative project that we're working on this weekend. It's executive produced by Alex Denoris Jr., who has worked on Revenant and Birdman, and has some amazing talent, Jerry Bannon, um, among others. And yeah, that's the project we have coming up actually this week. And then we have another project coming up later in the month that has some really cool narrative driven prospect. And the executive producer and writer for that project is a really talented emerging filmmaker. So yeah, we're looking forward to that, and hopefully more projects to come. I'm writing, directing some things. Joelle and I are writing together constantly, putting ideas around, rattling them in the brain. So we hope to have quite a few projects up this year, and definitely hoping to have a feature project up this year.
No, it's so interesting. I have to check those out when they're released and available. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys coming on and joining us. I love everything you guys are doing, especially being so young. It's brilliant. So amazing to see kind of, our generation really actually, doing such amazing things. And I really want to thank you guys for everything you guys are doing. It's definitely, impacting so many people. I know after the sack of the strike, I know a lot of people are looking for different projects and everything. So I really, really appreciate you guys coming on and chatting with us about everything you guys are doing. And I know a lot of our listeners would take so much out of this. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you
like
so much for having us.
yeah.
Yeah. And check us out on our social medias,
Western Star Entertainment.
westernstar.com. Yes.
Yes, go check
We're
it
always
out.
looking, yeah, we're always looking for young, passionate, enthusiastic individuals who'd like to work in the film industry, and haven't found their way in. So Western Star Entertainment Group, look us up.
Ooh, go check it out, guys. You heard them there. But thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. We have some amazing guests lined up, so make sure to stay tuned. But thank you guys for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you so much.